This is the follow-up video to the one I made yesterday. Hi Alejandro. Okay, I don't know how to start this really. We'll just give it a go. You can see it's a beautiful day. I came here yesterday. Like I said, I think I said in yesterday's video, it was really, really windy. I'm just trying to let you see the sea and where I'm at. I'm just around the corner from the caves. I'm by this scary place, scary cliff path. You see? And I'm just here because there's like a seat in the rocks. So I'm just sat down now. And I wanted to have a chat with you about things I found out. I mentioned it yesterday. Last year, because I've heard some things and I've been investigating. I found some information out that, and this, what it is. This is so hard to do. What it is. I feel better. I feel much more at ease when I'm walking around doing this. So I'm going to do a little bit of walking, see what happens. It's easier than just sitting. Perhaps if I was at home it would be easier, but I don't know. Where do I start? Okay, listen. Everything we've been taught in school has been a fib. They haven't been telling us the truth. It's not the teacher's fault. You can't blame the teachers. You can blame the system. Now, before you left, we had a chat about the flat earth. And I told you that hundreds of years ago, it was just over 500 years ago, people believed the earth was flat. It's not they just believed it, they knew it was flat. But these bad people who are ruling this earth, this flat earth, have been telling us fibs all this time, okay? They've been doing it by putting on television, which I started to tell you yesterday, that television is mind control. It's a devil box, and it shouldn't even be in the house. It could be there as a monitor. You could watch the computer on it or play video games and stuff, but no, television and the news is the worst thing. So what they do, they use the television like witchcraft, and they put on the screen subliminal messages. That means like hidden messages that you'll see in a flash, or you'll see very, very quickly. You won't even think about them. You won't even notice them half the time. This is why they do it. But in your mind registers everything. So your mind will see, for example, a globe model of this earth. A globe model that they've had us believe to be true, and it's not. If we don't live on a spinning ball. We don't live on a spinning ball. A spinning ball that they say is going at thousands of kilometers spinning. Have you ever felt it spin? Never feel anything. Then, not only that, they say this spinning ball is circling through space, spinning and gyrating through space, going around and around the sun. That's not true. It's not happening. But they've implanted this in our minds to, every time you go to the cinema you see a ball of globe. They put it there. So it'll become normal to you. When they send you to school, 3 years old, you walk into the classroom, and what's in front of you when you walk in the classroom? A globe. It's all been done for a reason. It's all been done by design. It's brainwashing. I explained to you yesterday about this business about finding out the truth. First of all, you don't believe it, and I don't expect you to believe what I'm saying to you now. There's a lot more to come yet, so let's take it step by step. First of all, I don't want you to believe what I'm saying or what anybody else tells you. You have to do your own research. Oh, Daddy said it was a globe. Daddy said the Earth's flat. Well, you do your own experiments. One experiment is looking at the sun, and the sun is electrical. It's not a spinning ball of hydrogen or whatever they say it is, or nuclear, I don't know. It's electrical. Everything's electrical. What they should have been teaching us in school is not about Einstein, who was a fraud. He was false. They controlled him. He was like a puppet. Did what they wanted him to do, and he said what they wanted him to say to trick us and brainwashers, mind controllers. They should have been talking about a man called Tesla, Nikola Tesla, and he was the man who knew the Earth was flat. He's the man, but they shut him up, you see. He's the man who knew everything is electrical. Our brain, a tree has electricity in it. You can research this. You don't have to believe me. In fact, I ask you not to believe me and do your own research. There's so much to talk about. It could take weeks. And experiments you can do yourself. You can look at the sun when it's shining, when it's behind cloud, partially, or even totally. We know the sun's rays come out at an angle, like a triangle. They come out at an angle. You follow that angle up, even though you can't see the sun, and you'll be able to pinpoint exactly where the sun is. Now, you must do this in your experiments, and it'll tell you that the sun is close in the sky. It's probably only around 100 kilometers away, like from here to Barcelona. It's not far away. What's covering, you see, we live above us. This is why the sky is always blue. Above us is a dome. It's made of crystal, or some kind of crystal or plasma, I don't know. And above that is water. That's why if you research, well, I know you will research this. You research, for example, on YouTube, what do stars really look like, and people with powerful telescopes will show you in a video. And it's something else you can do yourself. I've never had a telescope powerful enough. When I was a young boy, I had a telescope. I could never understand why I never saw what they said existed on television. I never saw that. All I could see was flickering lights, different coloured lights, flickering though. And the reason is because they're electrical. They're electrical objects in the sky, in the in this plasma inside it. And because there's water above, or they're in this kind of liquid, you see, when you see a video of what the stars really look like, you'll see like a water, like you look into the bottom of a swimming pool and you see the wavy pattern in front of your eyes or on the surface. This is exactly what the stars look like. They're in a liquid, and this is exactly what's happening. So we know for sure. We know. And I've spent 12 months. I've been looking into this kind of thing with since I was about, I don't know, 21, something like that. And then I had to leave it for a while because I was working, and this is all part of the beast system, the devil system, Satan's system that's been put on this earth. Get the people working like slaves. We are slaves. And stop them believing in the Bible. This is another thing. I'm skipping over this a little bit just to give you an idea, because it'll be a shock to you what I'm saying, and just give you an idea what's happening. And we can talk more about it in other videos. Look up everything I'm saying. The Bible is true. Everything that's in the Bible. I can't demonstrate every single thing, but all the research I've been doing, and other people, very, very clever people, have been doing, everything points and has actually been demonstrated that what it says in the Bible is true. Now, we talked about this before you left. We talked about the Bible, and my school teacher in my primary school told me. Now, I told you this story. It's very difficult that the Bible should be a lie, a fib. Very, very difficult, he said. For it to have survived all these years, over 2,000 years now. Very difficult. And he was right, because I've done my own research, and things have happened in the Bible. They're absolutely true, and they're still happening now, and it looks like that's the way it's going, and that's going to happen in the future as well. So this is just a heads up, as they say in America. It's a warning. You have to be very careful. I always wondered, and I think I might have mentioned this to you, is that if one day, I always thought when I was a child, and even later on in life, when I was an adult as well, if one day I would see this happen, and I'm starting to see it now. So this time yet. I don't want to frighten you about it or anything, but perhaps something good will happen. I don't know. And get rid of all this evil off this earth. But I don't know. It's a strange place. It's not what you think it is. Well, it's not what you thought it was. It's completely different. This place we call home, it's our home, but it doesn't belong to us. It's not ours. It doesn't belong to anybody. We're just here. It's quite possible. I mean, I'm not sure if we should get into this now, really. Okay, I'll let it all go. Okay, well, most of it. It looks as though, because of the experiments done and everything, that when you get down to, we've talked often that you can go smaller and smaller and smaller. You look through a telescope and you can see Mallorca, and if you get a more powerful telescope, you can look further and further. Oh, and this is another thing, by the way. Let me just say this: looking through a telescope, that people say, the Earth is round, because when a ship gets on the horizon, it starts going over the curve of the Earth, and it disappears over the curve. No curve. No, there's no curve. There isn't. Doesn't exist. Water is at sea level. They always say sea level because water always finds its own level. Water does not bend. I'm sorry. It might do a little bit, just going around a ball, and then it'll drop off. Water always finds its level. That's why they say sea level. So it's difficult to talk about this because there's just so much to say, so much information. So we were talking, and what it is when you look at a boat on the horizon, and you can just see it's all to do with perspective and distortion and the atmosphere. That's what it's all to do with. Now you get a telescope and focus in on the ship or the boat, and the boat will come clearly into view. So that proves that one thing proves that there is no curvature. That one thing, by focusing your telescope zoom close in on the boat, and the whole boat can come to sight. So that one thing alone, okay, apart from the sun rays and apart from loads and loads of other things, proves. And it's not a theory. There is proof that we live on a flat plane. On a plane. The plane is flat. It's a flat Earth. The view you can see now, you're not going to see any curve. Even if it was a ball, you wouldn't see the curve because it's so massive. And this is people's argument. Oh, you wouldn't see the curve, it's so huge, the Earth. No, you probably wouldn't from here. But people have been up in balloons, okay? And they've seen from a very, very great height, people who have told the truth now, and they've seen from a very, very great height what the Earth really looks like. I'm talking about a massive height now, not as high as they can go now. But we have footage now as well from high balloons. Very high altitude they go now. And we have footage of that. And that shows clearly what it is I'm talking about. It shows clearly that there is no curvature. None. Now the guy who called, what was his name? A guy went up, I don't know when it was, in the 1920s or 1930s. PK or something of his name. He went up in a balloon. Lower than a balloon can go these days. Modern balloons. And he went up and he found, and he said, and he stated, made a report out that all he can see is flat Earth, flat everywhere, and it looked as though around the edges of the Earth it curves up slightly. Now this is interesting because this is what everyone says, that why is it the water doesn't escape? You know, the sea that surrounds us. Why doesn't the water fall off the edge? Well, it can't, because we're surrounded by an ice wall. Well, you have to get into the way of thinking now, the way this looks. What you see on you look at a globe, well, it's not, it's a disc. It's flat like a CD. And what you have to do is look at the CD and imagine the countries all around the CD. So even the countries that they've told us fibs about that as well. They don't look the way they are. Australia's a lot bigger. Africa, I'm sure, is a lot bigger. because they've twisted them and reshaped them to fit on a ball, and they're not. They're all flat. Everywhere you look is flat. And so what we've got is, forgot what I was talking about. Anyway, it's all, I've forgotten. I've lost track of it. It's just so, there's just so much to say about this subject. It's mind blowing. Now I can't disprove it, and you know I'm a genealogical researcher and have been for over 30 years, but I've also been involved in engineering, and I can't disprove. You know, they start talking about, oh, the angle of if the sun was millions and millions, or whatever they say, kilometers away, or billions they use these big numbers to fool us, you see. So if they say that, it can't be, because the sun is leaving a reflection on the sea. Now that can't happen. This electrical light is reflecting onto the sea, and also if we were living on a ball, the light wouldn't reach us in an unbroken line like that. It would break up, because we're living on a ball, so they say, but we're not. The sea's a bit rough today. When you see the sun reflecting in photographs, or you'll see a straight line of light from the sun. Now if the sun was billions of kilometers away, it's impossible. And also the light wouldn't be in one place. It wouldn't be in one place like it did, like I've just shown now. It would be right across the horizon. Right across. Anyway, it's something that it can't be disproved. I can't disprove it. And I can give you 200, or to start with, there are more, 200 examples of, or 200 proofs that the earth is flat. And scientists can't even give you one. They'll tell you a load of stories. NASA will show you paintings. They have artists working for them. Every time you've seen a black hole, every time you've seen a star, planets, all those things, galaxies far, far away, it's all fibs. They're all paintings, or CGI, computer-generated images. All CGI, all fake, all been done to fool the stupid people. But they also call sheeple, because we all are stupid. We follow each other around like sheep. Now, we talked about this before you left. I was bothered. I mentioned it yesterday, I think, again, to refresh your memory, that I was worried about this this business with how easy it is to fool the mind. It has always bothered me. And it's easy. It's easy to do. It's easy to fool people. And so we've all been fooled. The moment we walked into preschool, 3 years old. I never went to preschool, you never did. If you were here with me now, I'd have you out of school. I would home educate you. You would be with me all day and mixing with people and getting a good education. Not the education that they want you to have. They want you to have a stupid education, a stupid things. They don't want you being clever. They don't want you critical thinking. That means thinking for yourself, experimenting and thinking from your brain, thinking for yourself. They don't want that. That's dangerous for them. So, They trick us with the films and the television and all these fibs. The worst part about all this, we go back to the Bible. These people who are controlling every aspect of our lives, they're all over the earth, they're everywhere. And they are Satanists, devil worshippers. And they worship a big G, and their big G is God, which is dog backwards. But their God is not the God they talk about in the Bible. Their God is Satan. Do you remember when one day I picked you up from Man when you were living there? One of these flats, when you lived in that flat with an apartment with that old man, remember? And your mother came out one day and she was saying, she was repeating. Now this is pure witchcraft. You think witchcraft is a game or something stupid? No, it's not. It's real and it exists. Your mother came out because she had been bewitched, fooled. So she came out of the apartment saying, "Yes, we can." And this is what the American president at the time, he's just left a couple of months ago. He left, or a month ago. It's only weeks ago. He left, and he is evil, Satanist. But he's just a puppet. People control him. This evil force at work, this dark force that's at work on this earth, controls these people. And they told him to say, "Yes, we can," because backwards, they think backwards, they talk backwards. And "yes, we can" backwards is "I love you, Satan." So your mother and millions, if not billions of people all over this flat earth were saying what this man said. "Yes, we can. I love you, Satan." I think it's "I love you, Satan." It's "I love you, Satan," or I'm sure it's "I love you, Satan." It's something I love you, Satan. Something like that. It's Satan. And there's something going on here, Alejandro, because this witchcraft is for a reason. So then we get into another area, which who are we? What are we doing here on this earth? And what are we? You know? Okay, well, I'll tell you something now, just briefly, and I don't know if I'll get into this more anyway. I'll just tell you, okay? I'll just gloss over it briefly. We live in a conscious. If I say universe, I don't mean the universe that NASA and these space agencies, which are all false, because you can't go to space. We live under a dome. This is why these space agencies they want your money for a start, and the money goes into their pockets, and they just laugh at you. They do stupid things like pretending there's an ISS space station, and they take a monkey up there, a gorilla outfit, and dress up in it, and that wouldn't happen. If it was a really you go into space, that wouldn't happen. Showing space astronauts, women astronauts with long hair, and that just wouldn't happen. And they've always got spotlessly clean clothing on all the time, and that just wouldn't happen. And they've made mistakes as well when they've been talking, and they've been saying, "Oh, we're broadcasting from Arizona," or something like that. And they've made a mistake. They've slipped up, and because they're not in space. That's why. It's very difficult to lie. Very difficult to live a lie. So these people have been caught out. If you research it, you'll see all this. So where were we? We live in a conscious universe, not the universe that they've painted for us. The universe under this dome on this flat earth. The universe meaning our universe is everything around us. Okay, that's your universe and it's my universe. It's a conscious universe. So it means if you are happy And we've talked about this lots and lots of times. Control your mind. Don't let your mind be fooled by these people. You must control your mind. You tell yourself, love yourself is one thing, and love other people. Love people around you. Be nice to people. We've talked about this before. And the consciousness will change, and then your life will be happy and nice. Things will be a lot better. You start going around saying, "Oh, I'm fat," or "I'm ugly." Oh, no! That's the worst thing you can do. No, you have to be positive, and this seems to affect the consciousness, Alexander. That's all around us. Now, I've seen lots of experiments by a very clever man, very clever doctor, and he's—I don't mean a doctor of medicine. I mean a very highly qualified man who did water experiments. He says a nice thing to water in a bottle or in a flask. You know whether these chemists have a glass container called a flask, and it has water in it, and then he says something like "I love you" to the water, and then freezes the water immediately. He has special equipment to freeze the water immediately, and he looks at the pattern created in the frozen water. You can look all these experiments up online. And the beautiful patterns, playing Mozart music, classical music to the water, does the same thing, freezes it instantly, and the pattern is gorgeous pattern. Now, if you say Satan or I hate you to the water and do the same thing, it's horrible. You can see like a devil shape in the water and everything, in the pattern, and it's horrible. And there are loads and loads of experiments that he's done. There's a consciousness going on. Water is not what you think it is. It's not what we think it is, water. Water is something else. There's something going on here. Everything's affected by consciousness. So that gets me back. I've gone off the rails a bit here with this, but because there's so many areas you can get into with it. It's huge. It's huge. This knowledge is huge. You know, we've always talked about if you have knowledge, you have everything. Now, these people have had this knowledge for thousands of years, and they've changed everything because the devil worshippers, the Satanists, they've changed all our knowledge of how things used to be, where we really come from. We don't come from apes, for example, and they want you to think that we developed from an ape. No, we didn't develop from apes. It's ridiculous. They want you to think that the universe, they talk about this universe they painted in pictures, was created from a Big Bang. That's ridiculous. There was no Big Bang. A Big Bang from nothing. You can't get a Big Bang from nothing, and nothing comes from nothing. So we didn't come from a Big Bang, or we didn't develop from nothing. For a start, there's no universe out there. There is no universe. There is no outer space. You can't get to outer space. You can't get there. They've tried. They've tried with the rockets, and they started hitting the dome. And the Americans, many years ago, before I was born, sent up what they say, if nuclear rockets are real, if they really have nuclear rockets, it looks as though nuclear weapons and rockets don't exist, but they sent, and it doesn't matter, you can research that, they sent up rockets, and what they were trying to do, they didn't say this, they had a name for it, which is obvious. I can't remember the name of they said they were experimenting. They always hide behind experimenting, and they weren't. What they were trying to do was shatter the dome, and that's not going to happen. This is crazy. So they sent these rockets up. Rockets are real. They exist. We've seen them, but they don't go into outer space. They curve, they go as high as they possibly can, and then they start curving, and then they ditch into the sea. Out of sight of everybody. They put the rocket bases so they can go up and curve. Now people say, oh, those rockets are curving, they're not going up into space. They say, no, they have to travel around the Earth once first to get the right speed to be able to go through what they call the Van Allen belts. They say the radiation belts. And now know they've come out and said some scientists have they're talking too much, and they've said, well, they will be able to get through the spacemen never went to the moon. We never went to the moon. Never happened. Everything has been they're fibbing. They're all what you call Freemasons. They all belong to this big club of evil, evil people who are at the top. I'm not saying some of the bottom ones, the lower ones who go into the Freemasons thinking it's a charity and we do this for people, we do that for people. I'm sure they do. They probably do. And they probably don't know that they're worshipping their god is Satan. They probably don't know. Once you're in and you've gone through an initiation ceremony, once you're in, there's no getting out. Once you've gone in, once you join that club, there's no getting out of it. And there are others as well. Skull and Bones is another one in America. Once you go in, there's no getting out because they'll kill you. So these are the people who rule this earth, and also the Jews. I'm not talking about Jewish people in general. I'm talking about Zionist Jews, crypto Jews, Jews who think they call themselves Jews, but they're not real Jews. They're just hateful, evil, despicable people. They, the Satanists, the Masons, they all run this earth. They're everywhere. They own everything. Countries are not free countries. They're corporations. That means they're big businesses. And we're just slaves. And they're very clever, these people. They know that. They've got us all working and busy, so we don't think about things, we don't critical think, we don't ask questions. They want us so busy and earning so little money. They invented money. What we don't have money. We don't need money. But they've invented this. They've created. Well, they invented money. They've created this world. So it's all been designed so we have to work hard, get less and less, pay more taxes, and banks, and then they own all these things. They own all the banks. They own everything. They own everything. They own the cinemas, the televisions, the telephones, everything. Google, everything you want, they own it all. So that means they control everything you see, everything you do is controlled. And this is one of the reasons. I'm going to finish off a bit now. To wrap this video up, okay? It goes on so long now, in the end, I'm just ranting and ranting. It's a big one. It's the biggest thing that you'll ever hear. It's better to hear this now. You're 11 now, 12 this August 2017 it is, and it's the 1st of, where are we? March, 1st of March today. And it's about 1500 hours here in Calamporte. And I've got, the wind's a bit cool. I'm very, very warm now actually. But I'm going to leave it on because in a few minutes I'll be going back. And you can see sea level, flat horizon everywhere you look. And this is a subject we can go into and into. You can look at lighthouses. Look at lighthouses. Why can one lighthouse see another lighthouse from hundreds and hundreds of kilometers away when there's supposed to be a curve in the middle? No. Well, you can see, the lighthouses can see each other. That's the idea. Trains going across Russia. Massive, huge piece of land. Now trains don't go up hills, so they don't work that way. They need, the railway tracks need to be flat, and that's the way they're built. That's the way it is. Ask any architect if he's ever factored in the curvature of the earth into building a village or a town or a railway track or anything like that. Motorways, no, never, not necessary. It's all flat everywhere you look. So you go down to like the North Pole. What they say is the North Pole is in the middle of the flat earth, and the sun goes round in a circle and gets wider and wider and wider. That's when here in Europe we get our winter, and in Argentina it's the summer. So it's the summer there now, and it's the winter here now. We don't get much of a winter here in Menorca, but look. It's now the sun is starting to move back into a closer circle, not so big a circle now. And this is all done electrically. Whoever or whatever designed or put together this earth, this creation, everything in it, and there's the system of the sun and the moon, knows everything, and it's all been very, very cleverly done. So there's loads of places to go with this now. Loads of places. Basically, in a nutshell, we've been lied to about everything. Now we need to uneducate ourselves and re-educate ourselves with the truth. Okay? The truth is out there, but you need eyes to see the truth. Watching television won't do it. Even your favourite program, if you analyse it, if you break it down, the people who own the television programs, the companies, everything they own, all the news stations, everything is fed into your brain the way they want it to be fed in, to fool us and keep the fib going. And they keep it going, and they're in no rush either, Alejandro. They can take hundreds of years controlling. They want to kill us as well. There's a guy called Bill Gates, look it up, and he owns Microsoft. He's a billionaire, multi-billionaire, and they put him in charge of vaccines. You know, they give you something like to have this injection for the flu. Okay, well they're trying to kill us, because inside the injection are things, products, chemicals, nanoparticles perhaps, that can harm us. You must never ever have an injection. Anyway, I think we'll better save this stuff for another video, because it just goes on and on and on. Like I said, there's weeks of knowledge. Once you have this knowledge, there's no turning back. Once you've accepted it, once you've gone through the 3 stages of saying, "Oh my gosh, you're joking! Daddy's gone crazy." No, Daddy hasn't gone crazy, honey. The crazies, the psychopaths, are the ones ruling this earth. It seems crazy at first, because we've been put under a spell, and once you break out of it, and we talked about this yesterday, the second stage is to be cross about it, because you have to accept that you've been fooled. I accept it. I don't mind. We've talked about it before. People are fooled very easily, and we've all been fooled. Everybody's been fooled. Everyone. And these people know that. They know exactly what they're doing. And the third one is you accept it and you do something about it, like I am. I'm making this video for you, for example, and I've got a YouTube channel called Dajara Vision, and there are loads and loads, 100 or more videos on there as of today, and it's growing all the time. People are following me, and people are seeing my videos, and most of them aren't my videos. People do it a lot better than I can, and a lot of videos you can mirror, you can put up, and there's no problem with that. And I'm also making some money off it as well. Not very much now, because I don't have many followers. But if I say I had 1,000 followers, for example, every month, it would pay the Wi-Fi bill or telephone bill at home. You know, so okay. But this business, is what we've been talking about here, is one of the reasons I want to get away from here as well. But there are other reasons too. That's one of them. We talked about this yesterday, but there are some deeper reasons as well. Apart from that, as I mentioned yesterday, there are deeper reasons, and we'll get into it. Okay, so I'm going to break off now, because if this isn't working, I'm going to look stupid. Okay, love you loads, honey. Miss you, crazy. Okay. Better stop saying that stuff, or I'll start making me cry. Okay, love you. Take care. Be safe.